Buenos días o buenas tardes a todos.
Good day, good morning, or good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to this new webinar where we are going to talk about the politics again for the mothers. As you know, once a month we are gathering with different political representatives from both sides of the Atlantic Ocean in order to be able to share a kind of diagnostics and also to share some experiences that can be inspiring in order to promote the values, which is one of the values which is very important is the defense or the protection of human life, the protection of mothers. And this is why we are trying to hold these seminars regularly. There are two wonderful presenters whom I'm going to introduce immediately. And also, just for the sake of practical reasons, there is simultaneous translation into English and also into Portuguese. So in the menu, you can select the channel and the channel that you want to use.
In the bottom below in your menu, the language you wish, English or Portuguese or Spanish. Así que voy a presentar en primer lugar.
So I would like to introduce you Margarita de la Pisa in the first place. She studied pharmacology at the Madrid University, and she has a specialty in biotechnology and also in neuroscience. She has worked in several areas within the pharma industry, and she also joined another network with promoting motherhood. She is a Euro MP in the Vox group within the FR parliamentary group. She has 9 children, and she is expecting, so soon her 9th child is going to be born, and she's a very brave woman. So this is a wonderful, it's a wonderful commitment that she is showing to us. And also, I'd like to also introduce Conrado Jiménez, and I am very lucky to know him for at least to know for several years. He has a doctorate in biochemistry and also in bioethics, and he is working at the Rey Juan Carlos University in Spain, and who also worked as a researcher, and he is also somebody who understands everything that is stock exchange and the banking sector. In 2000, he left behind this wonderful career, and he decided to become the president of the Madrid Foundation. He has been awarded with several awards, and also worked for the CEU University in Valencia, and he's also somebody who has been recognized and acknowledged with different awards. And he worked both for the European Union and UN. Also have to mention that there were many have joined us also from the civil sector as participants and of the webinar. And there are 16 countries represented: from Spain to Hungary, Chile, Mexico, Ecuador, US, Colombia, Honduras, UK, Germany, Puerto Rico, Belgium, and Guatemala, and Slovakia as well. So I will personally also welcome all of you. Before handing over the possibility to Margarita, I would like to share a 1-minute-long video with you, which shows perfectly this whole commitment that we are going to talk about. What we have achieved in the field of reaching equality is something important, especially because everything related to womanhood, motherhood, married life has become something very negative. So we 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 are surrounded by a high level of egoism, and we are not a merchandise. We are not a product either. Human people have the dimension which means everything in our lives. We are able to create attachments and bonds, and women would like to be part of a family life, to be a part of something which is family. There is nothing more cruel than just take a life away. Uh, so we are here to give life. All of us would like to have a family and live in family. So Margarita, the floor is yours. Thank you very much to all of you who are present here, and also thank you, Lola. So there are many of you who were an inspiration and from whom we can learn a lot. I'd like to tell you that I am not a practitioner in politics, if I may say so. My political life started when I noticed that youngsters, boys and girls, were talking to each other, and they were talking about family life, about becoming mothers and fathers, and I saw how they spoke about this. And first I thought that I need to convince them to change their opinion, because they didn't seem to appreciate the values which I respect. So what we try to do is to convey to mostly girls, young women, things which are very important to us, and which is something important, namely to value our own emotions, affections. And also I realized that it's important to somehow get involved in this if we want to change things. So I tried to look for some social movements and also look around and see what was happening in education, etc. So I just decided to give my whole time to this issue, because this is something that fascinates me. So I decided to promote motherhood, and I realized that we need some very specific political measures. So these are needed. So I noticed that this subject is a lot deeper. So in our society, uh, we managed to slowly to start things, but the challenges that I have to face, the truth is that they are really it's very tough. There is such a level of ideologization, if I may use this word. So making everything or turning everything into ideology around this subject. So in the European Parliament, I had to look into the different documents, and this is something so we tried to work with very simple concepts like pregnancy, what kind of care women need. So Lola called me and asked me to be here because this was a subject which seemed to be equally important to us. So there is a vocation of being a mother, but also we have to stand up for women within the society. So we try to I tried to find out how things were going, and also there were not only the parliament, but also the different commissions were contacted by me, all on social affairs, on health issues, etc. And I thought that we have to work closely with them if we want to achieve. But it was then the ice cold water poured on us. So it was really something which was very negatively received. So I don't want to enter the subject of abortion now, but what we found was that there are people who have such a negative attitude vis-a-vis pregnancy, and a female MP, a Euro MP, started saying things which were unbearable to me. So we would like to create a policy club because there are many of us Euro MPs who think in a similar way. So we wanted that in the European Parliament, some things have started to change. So why are we in this situation? I think it's very important uh, to it's very important to notice that we are not talking about maternity only, but about paternity as well. And we want to change this negative vision, this form of looking at women in a negative manner. So, and also I realize that there is fear behind, there are some kind of fears. So therefore we have to select some kind of new method in order to address that. So the current attitude is that women want to be autonomous, self-reliant, independent, and this is such a high level of egoistic behavior that I felt that we have to denounce that, unveil it. So women by nature have a desire to become mothers, and it's a part and parcel of being a woman. And if we want to be equal to women, that means that we will become men. So this desire of equality means that it will lead us to give up on all the feminine values that we have. So in the European Parliament, for example, if you mention the word birth, then that is considered something violent. So because they say that it's suffering, and but they forget that yes, it is a suffering, but at the same time it is accompanied by some joy, and the big joy And also this is a kind of a contribution to the society, because we are giving life to the society. So we have to defend the identity, the female identity we have, and we have to oppose those who don't feel the same way. So who don't see that we are doing something which is the quintessence of life itself. So there is a transcendent and spiritual aspect to it. Maternity should be valued, and maternity, being a mother and motherhood, should be valued. It's nothing negative at all. And also the whole thing has become devaluated, and I would dare say that it's crucified. So why don't we value other people? Why don't we value other people's principles? So Lola is my partner in this, and we talked about the different measures Hungary has taken, and which are wonderful. So we really can we only speak highly of those measures taken by that country. The moral support that is given to women there, it's exceptional. So it's very important. This is something that we have to work on, and the at European level as well as at national level. We have to create policies where people have a transcendental value. So this is nothing that life is nothing that can be compared with. So this is something that inherently is in all of us. So we have to find a new dimension to this problem, because many things can be solved. For example, the abortion and also the attitude towards motherhood. So this is all we have to protect life and the right to life. And also now this new ideology of gender ideology is becoming stronger and stronger. And we shouldn't fall into the trap of those who share these views. So I would like you to understand that we cannot solve problems individually. We have to unite forces in order to be able to protect these ideas that we share. So let's avoid the traps, and let's not allow women to kill their own children. So this is a path that all of us have to embark on. I think that I have used up my time, and it was a real pleasure to talk to you, and a very big hug to all of you. And thank you for listening. Thank you very much, Margarita, and also for opening the discussion or the debate, and also mentioning what the real values are. And now everything is interlinked, so we sometimes feel that the top values go down, and some absolutely lateral values or less important values become are put on top. So so thank you for your courage. Thank you for your words, because these are essential words, what you have just said. Before giving the floor to Conrado GIMÉNEZ, he asked me to show you another brief video and which he made together with Margarita de la Pisa, and which is aiming at promoting motherhood. So I will share my screen, and I hope that you will be able to see yourselves this 2-minute long video. Are you, can you see all this? Can you see this? Yes. So how I didn't know what to do because I had no job. I didn't know how to pay for the flat. So we are full with fears, and we fret of what's going to happen. You don't have a fetus. What you have, it's just a couple of cells. It's a clot, and so there is no life until there is no heartbeat. For me, I was told that if I wanted to have an abortion, they will take me to a place and it won't cost nothing. So the whole thing is going to cost you 400-500 euros. The social services tell you that if you don't have an abortion, then you are not going to have any social allowances. And this is an open threat. It's an open threat. In 2010, I wanted to have an abortion because of my very bad situation I was in. So social provisions encouraged me to do that, and also told me that even if I had the child would be taken away from me because I can't bring the child up because I have no resources. They gave me a tablet, and then they put me the IV, and then I asked for my baby, and they told me something which I will never forget, was that I have just a dead fetus. I will never forget that. Well, it's a very brave video. This is the FR group, and who made this. So, Conrado, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you, Margarita, for also for your role that you play within the European Parliament. What we would think that we have to be the voice of the people who have no voice and who cannot express themselves. So people who have a baby, they are more vulnerable than others. Lola, I had the chance to meet your husband, and we became friends from the first moment. I admire women. For me, I am a person who is coming from the field of research, and so because of an accident, I had to change completely. So I became the financial advisors of the banking sector, and then I realized that there is only one real important institution in our society, and that's family. So that's the most important thing. And therefore, we have to approach families with a great deal of respect, and because the economic development depends on the family, but also moral development and also all kind of moral values depend on families. And therefore, it's very important to understand that there is no continuation for any society if birth is not promoted and maternity or motherhood is not protected. So I know this. So, and we usually deal with 78 different countries, and we know that there are many countries who have a lower level of development, and there what we see is that the values are a lot higher than in the so-called developed societies. Therefore, they are going to subsist. So that's why I'm there to say that the most important venture, the most important society unit within our society is family, and the head of the families are women. Women are the heads of families, and therefore we have to look at them from this perspective. So they are the people who integrate all the values, they unite all the values. So a country which doesn't support family and doesn't support women who are mothers will perish. Simply, it won't subsist. It will disappear. That those societies will for a first break and then disappear. So now that we are in the middle of COVID, we are going to be even more careful with this group, or care more about them. We have had smaller foundations earlier, and then the central administration asked us to give support to all the women mothers in Spain, and it enabled us to try to gather all the mothers who were vulnerable, and we have now all the different statistics and analytics of them, and we realized that all the structures that have been built, in fact, they do not favor the mothers with children. So the children have become the target of commerce and the targets of trade, and so so it's a business. It is a commodity. So children have become commodities, and so this is how they are treated and approached. So, and many say as an argument that to bring up a child, it is a fortune, and everything is looked at from a financial point of view, that since they are products, this is something that practically has a price, or cost rather. So childhood is being exposed, the children are being exposed to more and more violence and to all sorts of, they are victims of pederasts, etc., pedophiles. So now what we want is that we want thousands of mothers to be able to survive the pandemic, and also without them being exposed to all sorts of violence. So therefore, social services usually don't welcome families with many large families with many children. So they say that sorry, if you go on like this, and you are unable to improve the financial conditions, then we will be able to, we will have to, sorry, we will have to take the children away from you because you can't look after them. So that's why if you look at the abortion numbers, you will see that absolutely outrageous things happen, like an 18-year-old young girl or young woman had an abortion when the fetus was almost 3 months old. So there is a whole mechanism which is not aiming at the promotion or is not aiming at keeping the child, but just the opposite. So why? Because the laws that are in vigor, they create a whole culture. And this whole culture is practically um, going against the protection of life. So if there is law, then it means that whatever activity you do by the law, it will be legal. But it's not illegal, but nobody talks about the moral aspect. Just because if something is lawful, it doesn't mean is that morally is also something to be followed. So instead of promoting what is permitted by law, they could simply provide more protection to these women. So the norms and the legislation that is in place in Spain, in fact, allows abortion, and they don't consider fetus as a living creature. So, and with this technology, practically they permit more and more, they permit abortion in more and more cases. So there is a legislation which does not protect the living. So uh, uh, family is very important. I don't cease to repeat that. And on the other hand, laws refer to biological activities, and but this is something as if the law prescribed that the sun can rise at a given hour only. So there is a need for a code of ethics also. And another thing which is very important is the language that is used. So all different violent concepts are disguised by words. So we know women who are exposed to a great deal of violence, especially domestic violence from the partners. And it's I think it's a sin to leave a pregnant woman, to leave her alone, to sort things out for herself on her own. So labor law and the labor law just simply doesn't take into consideration the tremendous burden that is laid on women, and practically what the labor law favors is the independence and of women. So uh, so the most of women have their child at the age of 30, which is quite late. So this is a very direct correlation between of the level of development of a country and also the laws that protect motherhood. So practically everything goes against encouraging women to have one or several children. So because what they have in mind is that if they have a child, they won't be able to work, and if they can't work, then they will become dependent and they won't be self-reliant. So practically it's not only poor families and those who cannot keep a child, but more and more families are becoming homeless. And we have discovered that in the big cities, uh, practically they don't welcome large families. So that's why we are going and focusing on our attention to rural areas or villages, because that's a more natural environment. And most of the times the schools, local schools, don't have 30 plus students or pupils, but they have 6 or 10. So that's why I think that we should review what is the most the best environment that really encourages women to have children. So it is very important for us to start working in the language that we use to call different things by different names, and also to make more visible the harassment and the violence women are exposed to. And we have received information and statistics from the International Labour Office, and they themselves highlighted the difficulties of women to have children and unemployment simultaneously. So I think it's very important to achieve one thing, to analyze. So how much does it cost for a nation to have a pregnant woman? So because there is no country without mothers, obviously. So it would be good if maternity could be considered the could be heard uh, so World Heritage. So I think it is worth for the governments, it's worth for them to ponder how much it is worth investing. And also the health system has to change. Many times pregnant women complain about the ill treatment they receive on behalf of doctors. So all the vocabulary doctors use with them. So this is something that has to change in hospitals. So why should the pregnant women be treated like this? And also lactancy is something which women are not encouraged to do. They are not encouraged to give, to breastfeed. Also, to protect, we need to protect the habitat, the habitat of pregnant women. We have to create a habitat which is livable for them. So which is safe for the baby, which is safe for the child. And from the womb, that child has rights and we have to protect them. So we have to enable them to be close to their mothers. So I think that this is the main line in which we have to go on working. So in this spirit, we have to go on working, that the children have rights from the womb. And from the moment um, of conception. So there is an aggression taking place against mothers and everywhere, and the labor market, social welfare system. So we had to work a lot with the European Union so that proper legislation be adopted, and for example, not leaving pregnant women alone, and also to feel more responsibility, also to educate fathers and assume these responsibilities that they have to assume. Also, and finally, I know that my time is up. So what was a positive experience when there was a congress where I could talk about these subjects, and all the governments present there, and also UNICEF was present, and they talked about the agenda they have against abortion, and so all the and there they talked about the legislation of the different countries and all the different social packages that are offered to women in the different countries. But when we explain to them that behind this situation, we have many women who have committed suicide, and and uh, and there are tensions among these women. On the other hand, it would be so easy to help them, and it would be so easy just to change some laws in order to protect them. So within the Popular Party, the Partido Popular, I have talked to different politicians, and they will submit a draft bill for the protection of pregnant women. And I think that it's very important to hold such congresses because this is when we can convince people and explain our ideas and tell them how different practices work. So we want the life of children, and also we want motherhood to contribute to a healthy society. So they constitute the 75% of the society, and they are very vulnerable. So when children are born from very poor families, then they have to face all sorts of problems. So it's very important to transmit, to convey this message to the society and the legislators to protect mothers and pregnant women. So every child that is born is a message to the world. This is true, Conrado. Thank you very much for this beautiful message that you gave us. You have been doing a tremendous job, an excellent, outstanding job. Literally. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't been on holiday for 20 years. Yes, because I saw you. I saw you when you were on holidays in inverted commas, and you were accompanied by many, many mothers. So let's open now the floor for the participants. We have the Brazilian Secretary for the Family, Angela Landra, and here we have Esa Mendez from Mexico. She is parliamentary. She is an MP, member of parliament. Janaina Compesaun Pascual. She also is a member of parliament. Nicolás Fernando Mayoraz from Argentina, Javier Puentes from Javier Puente from Spain, Georgina Tria from Spain, and Miss Tramoneo is also an MP. Then Nadia Alvarez from Madrid. Then we have Uruguay. Then Zaborska from Uruguay. Anna, she is a big fighter for women's rights and also mother's rights, and she is in European Parliament now. And the Vice President, Rodrigo, who is also with us. Rodrigo is here with us. I don't know if I forgot somebody. If yes, I'm sorry. Janaina from Brazil. She's also with us. Janaina. So I'd like to give the floor to Elsa Mendez. She asked for the floor. And then we have some questions in the chat, and then we will continue. Elsa, the floor is yours. Good afternoon or good morning. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity as a Mexican representative. And I want to share with you that in the last 3 years, I could submit 46 draft proposals for changing the law, out of which many have been adopted. So the aim was to, first of all, understand the situation in Mexico, which is very complicated according to the recent situation. So there is a conjunction of death, if I may say so. So it's propagated in our country. So now we need to address motherhood in a different way. So they are not interested anymore in the accompaniment and protection of motherhood. So we managed to achieve that the whole perspective vis-a-vis motherhood has been changed in the laws. And this is a global, it is a complex approach, education, healthcare, every single aspect that it means. And so that is what we call a new perspective towards the family, and also a new initiative which has the purpose of implementing the already existing rights of women to economic stability. So, and also protection of life, protection of pregnancy, and also we want the overall social policies to develop in a sense where vulnerable groups, among them women, among them pregnant women, among them are promoted, and in every single phase. So it's very important, the role of the state, because they are responsible for the implementation of the laws that already exist. And so what is important is really to put into practice these rights that already are stipulated by law. And they have to be vigilant, and they have to keep an eye on the implementation. So it shouldn't be only declarations only and rhetorics or words. These are international treaties and international legislation that Mexico has signed. And therefore, this law is there, or the pieces of legislation is there. The important thing is now to put them into practice, and therefore it should be prohibited to kill. So there is no right to kill. Therefore, this is another right that has to be implemented. Nobody has the right to kill. So it's very important also that women have to have uh, worthy life, a life that is worthy, and the state has to support mothers because they have to acknowledge the important role that they play. And in my state, in Mexico, these pieces of legislation have been adopted. And now I want to launch more projects with different NGOs, and I want to unite forces with them in order to implement these laws. Thank you very much, and thank you very, very much for your attention. And all these initiatives are at your disposal, so you can explain them if you're interested in your respective countries, what kind of protection and support can be given to pregnant women. Thank you, Elsa. We know very well your job, the job that you are doing, and how much you have been suffering because of the different attacks, the attacks against your person. So you are very brave. Now, Angela has the floor.
Vosotros, Lola. Conocido Lola recientemente en Madrid, ha sido una alegría, ¿no? Una alegría.
How
Hemos
nice it
luchado
is to be
juntas,
with you.
maravilloso.
And
Y también a Elsa, hemos luchado juntas,
we have
¿no?
fought together with Elsa,
Y también muy
together.
contenta de tener a Janaína Pascual,
And
¿no?
how nice to
Una
have Janaína with
guerrera
us
brasileña, ¿no?
because
Contenta.
she is
Bueno, yo
a
hice,
Brazilian
en Brasil estamos trabajando
hero.
en dos sentidos, ¿no? En la academia, en el ambiente académico,
So
trabajar
in this
poco
academic
que tenemos
environment,
el bullying contra
we had to
las
work
mujeres es
with the
muy fuerte,
bullying.
¿no? Tener un hijo es un
So
problema, es social,
to have a
y
child
tenemos que
is a
cambiar
social
eso,
problem, and we have
llevarlo
to change it.
a las raíces,
And
¿no? Del porqué, ¿no?
uh,
Porque tenemos esa
why?
consecuencia de hipersexualización en
Because
educación, ¿no?
there is
Incluso porque en casa
partly this
no
has a sexual
falta apoyo
connotation,
a la
and
maternidad a nivel de
because
las mujeres.
there is a lack
Entonces,
of
existe el Observatorio Nacional
support
de la Familia en la
for,
Secretaría
so there is a
que
need for
tenemos también
support of,
becas para
we
dirigir
have
academias, becas en la
scholarships
universidad para
at the
postdoctorado en la
universities,
universidad para
postgraduate
atender
ones,
los problemas
and
de
because
desajustes familiares.
uh,
Estamos viendo
and now
específicamente la
we
demografía, el problema demográfico,
see
¿no? Y
the
hemos
demographic issue. We're looking at the
basado
demographic
en
issue,
la pesquisa
demographics.
alrededor de
There
por
was
qué
a
las personas no quieren
research
hijos, ¿no?
why people
Las
don't want
madres,
children.
las
What
personas
is the
quieren,
reason
quieren, quieren,
for
pero
which
no
they
encuentran
want or they don't want
oportunidades en el campo
children?
laboral o
So,
social.
and we saw that many
Y
times
ahí
it's either the labor
querer
reasons or work reasons, sometimes
evidencia,
other
¿no?
reasons. So, but we wanted to base this research on
Política
evidences.
pública
So
está
there are public
trabajando ahora
policies in
la
place
firmatoria
now,
de la Convención
and
156 de la OIT, ¿no?
the
Que habla de igualdad de derechos
the
de la
ILO
mujer en el
talks
ambiente laboral.
in
Implementar
156
en la práctica,
points.
¿no?
ILO
La igualdad, que es lo que ahora
mentions
Madrid
the
está
issue of
trabajando
equality, of gender
vamos a ganar el
equality.
30%,
So that means that
¿no?
this is a top
Para
priority
esa
for
subvención que
them.
nos puede ayudar
So
muchísimo a
it would
empujar
be very important uh,
esta defensa, ¿no? Porque es un
to
problema para la maternidad,
raise
¿no?
this
Podemos
issue that this
hablar
is
de
something
dos
that hinders maternity, it
problemas
hinders becoming a mother in Brazil.
Uno, la
So
paternidad responsable,
the other
que
issue
está
is
analizado por
a
nuestra
responsible
Convención
fatherhood.
Nacional, porque
So we have a national congress with this subject, namely that fathers are also responsible. They also have a responsibility, and we want to enhance a kind of a dialogue and underline the importance that the responsibilities of the fathers as well. And beyond all this, beyond the anti-conceptive pills, the usage of pills, etc. We are organizing an international day of birth and abortion. So we want to explain the value that every life means. So we have members in the lower chamber of the parliament who have already started to address this issue. So we need to be very active. So we have to help the society to understand, change the culture around this subject. So therefore, we are working together. So with the civil sector and the NGOs and everywhere, so that to understand, to increase awareness, to make them understand, and also to join us. So I've been in Ukraine recently, and we talked about democracy, but also with different entities, we talked about the issues of life. There were women there from Poland, from Georgia, etc. So it's very important to strengthen these relationships, not only internationally, but within the nation also. In October, there will be a meeting with senators and MPs, US congressmen, and we want 1 year long a declaration and we want many countries to join us. So in Eastern Europe, in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, Hungary, Poland, Georgia. So we want to work together with them to be able to strengthen this idea. So we are talking also in Latin America with different organizations. The Ecuador and other countries have other behavior, so the issues are different. But we want to strengthen the international guidelines. So the most important thing is the international guidelines, the promotion of those. So, and life is the best thing that can happen to a nation. A new life is the best thing that can happen to a nation, to a society. Therefore, you have to protect maternity. Thank you very much. Thank you, Angela Gandra. It was very nice to listen to you, because what you are doing is to increase awareness, which is really a key issue in these family policies. So people should gain conscience and understand. So it's wonderful what you are doing. And thank you very much for your job, for the job that you have been doing. We are meeting frequently because we share the same concerns, and you've done a lot of work for Europe as well. So that's why it's very important. We're looking forward to the October to the meeting where the Geneva. So within the auspices of, or under the auspices of the UN, we are going to adopt this document. As Rodrigo Pedroso is also here with us, and he was he was the one who worded the text of the declaration. He is a very real defender of life, and he deserves a big applause. Thank you for mentioning him, and thank you, Rodrigo, for this wonderful job.
Voy enseguida a darle la palabra
And
a Nicolás Fernando
Nicolás Fernando
de
Mayoraz
Argentina.
is from
Antes quiero
Argentina,
mencionar
is going to take the floor.
algunas
And I
preguntas
have
que hay en
to
el chat.
mention that there are some questions in the chat.
Nos han preguntado en primer lugar que si podíamos
So
compartir
the question for
textos
number one
de
was
las
whether we could
iniciativas de
share
Margarita.
the
Tal vez
text of
cueste
the
un poco
different initiatives mentioned by
la
Margarita
situación en
in
la
the
que están.
beginning.
Algo ha mencionado Margarita. Me las ha enviado de manera
Margarita has sent me those. So I would like you to download these. I will put the link into the chat box. What initiatives they have within the European Parliament. And it is our mission also to share with all of you all the interesting initiatives. They say that in Chile, also there was a day dedicated to our cause, and Rosa Delgado is mentioning that after having fought for such a long time and looking at the current trends, is there any possibility to a real change that favors family? And what is your hope based on? And Andres also, Froiland also mentions another question that many times there is sexual discrimination in the labor market taking place in a very disguised manner, and there is a resolution of the European Parliament presented by Margarita, which you can find, and so what is the situation of mothers who are fighting for the custody of their children? And anyway, you can see the questions in the chat box. So I would like to ask Nicolás. I would like to give the floor to Nicolás. And then if I saw well, Conrado has also raised his hand. He wants to take the floor. Nicolás, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for this initiative. And I would like to congratulate you for this. It is, let me greet Rodrigo, Ivan, and thank you for all of you for sharing your experiences and projects with us. In Argentina, we are living in a very complicated time, just like the rest of the continent, Latin American continent. There are initiatives similar to the ones that you've mentioned. And just like Angela said, this is something which is a continuous thing. So we not only have to defend pregnant women, but also we have to defend families, protect them. And so I like the idea that this has to be considered as a world's heritage, the family as the world heritage. So the old experiences that I can see, I think they are very valuable for all of us. And so this network of ours, I think it's very useful because I can give reports here to many people that there are initiatives around the world and which are successful. I think Angela's experience in Brazil is just something formidable. It's really wonderful. And what we have to do is to learn how to do this in our country. So we need the support of the executive powers. So otherwise it's very difficult. So otherwise we can find ourselves very much alone. But I have hopes now, and just like I heard our colleague from Mexico, so I am really much in favor of strengthening these bonds with you. And I'm very much looking forward to meet in person with Angela and others, and in order to find ways of how to bring these projects to Argentina and implement them. So we have initiatives, but we do not have real tools to protect life. And just like Angela said, we have to coordinate among the different organizations. And we understand the values, but somehow we are unable to defend them. So I would like to offer my help in any sense to you, and let's try to coordinate something among ourselves. I will leave you my data in the chat box, so get in touch with me. Looking forward
Muchas
to
gracias,
working with you.
Nicolás. Pues eso es
Thank
nuestra
you,
petición y
Nicolas.
estamos a vuestro servicio.
We are
Para
also
cualquier
at your
cosa, para todo
disposal.
lo
So
que
thank you very
necesitéis.
much for everything that you need.
Conrado.
Conrado, the floor is
Adelante.
yours. You wanted
Y
to say
Margarita, seguro que
something.
en cualquier momento
And
queréis
Margarita, anytime, if you I'd like to express my admiration for all of you, Lola, Margarita, and the rest of you. So if I call the family an enterprise, but you're a multinational enterprise. So I am very ready to collaborate myself. For us, the family is the most. I've said it many times. My wife is my boss. Uh, but this doesn't mean that I'm not her. Language, I insist, is something very important. So it's very important. And if you are uniting family, children, paternity, all these elements together, and natural rights, this is the next element which I would like to bring in. So we shouldn't decide when life starts and when life ends, when to get a vaccine, when not to get a vaccine. So I think that there is a legislation in place which is quite hanging like Damocles' sword. So also the manipulation of language. Language is used to manipulate all of us. So that's why I find it very important to standardize the situation. So we are talking about a child in the womb of a woman. So people don't understand concepts, and we have to explain them. So look at the different newspaper headlines, and then you will see you will understand what I'm talking about. So the life of a child starts within the womb. And so therefore that child has to be supported already when it's in the womb of the mother. So we are talking about children's rights, and also we are talking about mothers' rights, but the biology and science will justify everything. I say natural rights is the key issue here. So it's the child, if it's not protected, the child can be ill-born or born with different malformations. So who is the one who can protect a child best? The mother. So therefore, all the rights children have mothers also have to have. So a right to healthcare, rights to a home. So these are rights, of course, according to their age, but these are rights that women can or should be able to exercise. So for me, is very important also the homelessness, and this is something is a concern to us. It worries us a lot because mostly hospitals are the ones who provoke abortion. So there is a harm done already in the hospitals, which is a major concern to us. So therefore, the all the codes of ethics and all the committees supervising those codes of ethics are not working well, are not functioning well. So especially in the field of homelessness, it's very important to take fast decisions. So also we need to create an ombudsman or an ombudswoman who defends mothers' rights. So that figure is very important because it's important to institutionalize the protection of the rights of mothers. So mothers are ideal. So also we have to access somehow to the media, and we have to conquer them. Let me use this expression. So there is no news in Spain where the foundation is not present. So they're in all the different media. So we are there to advocate for mothers, for women who are mothers. So somehow we have to tame the media, because otherwise they are creating a great deal of harm. And we have to go to different congresses and explain to all the different political parties because I have experience in this field. So we have to talk to them about the social measures that have to be taken. And so this is something that we have to promote in all of our countries. So all this league of countries have to fight for this. And once again, we should participate in all different possible congresses and take the floor there and speak up and write manifestos and read them to favor mothers. So it has to be done. We managed to gather 4,000 women every day, and we prepare congresses with them. We hold congresses with them, and we talk them about their rights, their fundamental rights. And one more thing, those who are staying at home because of the pandemic practically mean that they stay unprotected. So the pregnant women are completely excluded from society during the pandemic. So this is something that has to be analyzed properly, because to have a child is share. It's like a stock, a share, which starts to become very pricey at the age of 25. So they are a contribution. Therefore, it's very important to pay attention what kind of a health care, what kind of a social assistance is given to these very segregated women. Thank you, Conrado. And now the floor goes to Javier Puentes, Senator, and then Anna Zaborska will follow, and Jesus Magaña in this order. We have 12 minutes to go, and then we have to finish. And of course, those who want to stay can stay, then case 10, but there will be no interpretation. Thank you ever so much, Lola. And it's very interesting. I'll try to be brief because I don't need to repeat anything that has been said so far. Many, many things have been already said. So thank you, Margarita, Conrado, for their interventions. And I would like to convey to you a message of optimism. So I think that we can read different statistics, how much domestic violence has went up during the pandemic in Spain, for example, and also unemployment, the electricity bill are the main concerns. And in the parliament, we were listening to the debates there, and they are talking about the same thing. So for me, I could draw the conclusion that currently the main goal is not to represent the people, ordinary people. So somehow these cases do not reach the parliament. The mother who is worried about her child and all the concerns and worries that families have somehow don't seem to reach the MPs. So, but nevertheless, I would like to be optimistic, and I think that there is a way to involve people and to find people who share our values, and somehow to have our voice be heard in the parliament and transmit the problems of the street. We who are present here have had different meetings, myself too, and people say that we need a voice, we need somebody who speaks for us, because if nobody can convey our message, our message won't reach anybody. So our children, even if they share these values, they cannot be heard. Therefore, they think that this is not a subject that can be talked about. So it's very important to show them that we can voice what they think. So I have illusions, and I wish perseverance to all of us. Thank you, Lola. Thank you, Javier. You are one of the first ones who joined us and joined the UN Convention. Thank you for your perseverance. And now, Anna Taborska is going to take the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello to everybody. I am very, very happy to be with you this afternoon. And some few words. First of all, I'm happy to be with this Lola, with Conrado, and also encourage Margarita in the European Parliament. I have the experience for 15 years, and now I am in the Slovak Parliament, and I continue to fight for life and family, because motherhood and the family need to be returned to the center of public debate. The relationship to motherhood shapes society. Motherhood and the family, in this sense, are a political issue, and as such should be taken into account in the public decision-making process. To try to ban abortion for the moment, it's not a way, not only in Slovakia, but I think in many, many countries. because the mathematics in the parliament are very bad. But we are not sleeping, and in this session, we try to change 12 laws, and we choose the social way how to help the women, and to try that the women before the decision of abortion, they have enough informations and they have enough time for this decision. So we tried to change the legal term from pregnancy interruption to pregnancy termination. We prolonged the mandatory waiting period from 48 hours to 72 to reflect all information that women gets from a doctor at abortion requirement, and to expand its applications to all situations. To require 2 medical certificate attesting to health grounds as reason to perform abortion on health grounds that is paid from public health insurance. We try to provide women more and more exact information, especially on economic, social, psychological help that can women obtain from the state or NGOs in case of their pregnancy. We try to put in the law the prohibition of advertising on abortion providers. Then to centralize control over abortion process and providers in Slovak Ministry of Health, because now the control is on regions in Slovakia. Then we ask for the published annual report from the ministry with all relevant informations of abortion. And we try to extend state financial help to all children born in Slovakia, because now this help is limited to first 3 children, and we try to extend. And also for the moment, the financial help after the birth, the women have to attend 48 days. Then the child is alive. So now we said no. The financial help is from the first day, and we increase the state financial help in case of birth of child with several disabilities. We increase this 4 times, because now is 800 euros, and we increase this 4 times, so it's almost 4,000. And we create a new state social service for mothers who lost accommodation due to their unexpected pregnancy. And this accommodation where they could stay with their newborn child during 3 years. So how I said, we choose the social way. We would like to help the women. The first reading votes are next week, so please for the pray. And because for the first time we proposed this law 1 year ago, and we lost with 1 voice. So probably the next week it will be much more successful. So I encourage all of you, and I think Elola, thank you very much for this meeting, and Conrado as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for your perseverance in this cause that you defend and for your fight that you carry out in Slovakia. Before giving the floor to Jesus Magaña, he is another fighter for life in Colombia, and he is a member of the Committee of Experts. And he was aware of what happened in Texas. And we met this senator, lady from Iowa, and we talked about the rights of the children in the womb of the mothers. So there is a sentence which is going to be issued on the Texas case. So this will probably open the possibility to have a debate about these laws and protect life. So this can change the Roe versus case. But Jesus has the floor, and those who have to leave, I will say goodbye to them. Very big goodbye. And we are going to send you all the information, and we will send you all the documentation that Angela mentions, the Geneva document. And I want you to be updated. And it's very important that all women and all of you can join this. It was very nice to meet you. And soon the fourth Transatlantic Summit is going to take place in November in the Budapest Parliament, in the Parliament of Budapest. We want it to be with physical presence, and it would be very nice to be present and to get to know each other. And everybody probably has received the invitation, but if not, please tell us and we will send you the invitation. And it would be good to create some kind of a Telegram group in order to be able to get in touch easier with each other. And also, Margarita, I don't know if you want to say something else as a final word, and then Jesus will go. It was really a pleasure to listen to all of you, all who have taken the floor, including Anna, because I'm delighted to be in touch with you, and please rely on me. I am at your full disposal, and so I have assumed this post with and feel the responsibility of it. And I have enjoyed very much everything that you've said. So I think there is another person still who wants to intervene, sorry. And so it was a very nice meeting all of you. Thank you. So, please, you are also a very big fighter in Colombia. So you are one of the enhancers of our issue. Thank you, Lola. A very big welcome to all of you. It was very nice to be with you. And it was really encouraging to talk all of you. And all of the senators and the Others are in Parliament. They are having a session, so they apologize for not being able to participate, but they would like to send their greetings to you. So we are fighting, and we are debating, and we are submitting now a case to the Constitutional Court, and we want them to issue about abortion case. And so we are waiting for the sentence, because the sentence there was an absolution. So it means that abortion, the person who had the abortion was absolved completely. So I would like to get in touch with the Congress people of Texas and come and tell them that indeed it will be a very important change, and it will be very important to have public legislation which favors life, and would like to send a big greetings to all of you. And the summit in Budapest is going to be a big success. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, Jesus. I think that we have reached the end. I think Conrado and Margarita are here only if they want to say a final word.
¿Animo yo? Sí, Conrado. Bueno, pues yo había una de las preguntas.
One of the questions that was raised was about this negativity, that there is nothing to be done, everything is lost. But the truth is that the truth is in our hands. So any person who has the same ideas,
defender realmente es el amor entre las personas, el amor de madres a hijos, el amor entre hombres y mujeres, es el amor y todo lo que venden los demás.
Akkor én is kiszállok, jó? Köszi szépen. Puszi. Köszönöm. Itt vagyok, igen.
Milyen volt?
Elment.
Ne hülyeskedj, ez követhetetlen, ezt nem lehet.
Én szerkesztett változatot közöltem, nem voltam hajlandó hadarni.
Aha, jó van, ügyes vagy.
A lényeg átjött, szerintem botrány nincs. A botrány nincs, remélem, hogy ezek után jobban fognak majd.
Ilusionarles es facilísimo. Están aquí, ya llevamos dentro, ¿no? Esas mujeres también he dividido, también he hecho rescates y me ha sorprendido. Al principio pensaba que era algo que podía atribuirme a un éxito mío. Enseguida vi que no, que es un éxito de la vida, ¿no? Que es así de sencillo. Dar confianza cambia totalmente la
Igen, de én is fordítottam, mert hogy spanyolul
puede pasar exactamente igual en la sociedad. Yo creo que va a haber un punto de inflexión donde se vea la tristeza.
Nem, azt nem értettem, de mondtam
La felicidad
helyette
está
más.
realmente en entregarnos a los demás. Nos están vendiendo lo contrario, ¿no? Parece que la felicidad la vamos a encontrar quitando las responsabilidades, quitando los compromisos, pues quitándonos caras, y eso es un no nos va a llevar a ningún lado. Me ha encantado la idea de la perspectiva de familia. Creo que una de las cosas que estamos hablando también del móvil maternal, que es muy importante, es que las propias mujeres nos valoremos a nosotras mismas. Creo que muchas veces damos más valor a que se proteja nuestra vida laboral a que se proteja nuestra maternidad.
Mert hogy Budapesten novemberben itt lesz a negyedik. De akkor ez nem a
Bueno, Conrado lo explica muy bien y ojalá digas conferencias por el mundo entero sobre las bondades de la maternidad en la vida de las mujeres. Pero es verdad que una mujer que ha pasado experiencias fuertes como la maternidad, que ha tenido responsabilidades como la que es tener un bebé, creo que necesita llegar a ese montón de capacidad que si supiéramos vender bien en el mundo empresarial, en el mundo laboral, serían, es que somos capaces de hacer muchísimas más cosas a la vez, ¿no? Todas las mujeres denunciamos a los hombres y nos damos cuenta que tiene ese valor y la maternidad. Y yo siempre quiero contar esa vida laboral maravillosa con la vida maternal, ¿no? Los padres no estamos teniendo, o sea, el embarazo. Yo ahora, mira, estoy esperando, me voy a levantar para que veáis mi tripa. Estoy embarazada. Pues sí, es verdad que estoy un poco despistada porque además hoy estoy teniendo muchas contracciones. No sé yo si va a tocar la puerta y va a querer asomar la cabecita antes. Pero quiero deciros que no tiene por qué coincidir en el tiempo, que no nos tienen que hacer renunciar a ser madres. Que quien nos haga renunciar a ser madres nos está engañando. Yo estoy convencida de que todo ese engaño va a haber un día que se va a notar y va a haber un punto de inflexión de repente. Y tengo esperanza en nuestra juventud. Por eso los que tenemos un poco de protagonismo público tenemos que alzar la voz grande y con mucho orgullo y dar mucha, eso lo han dicho, ¿no? Que si a los jóvenes se les dice lo bueno que es ser madre, pues oye, se devuelve un prestigio a unos valores que se ha hecho un esfuerzo muy grande por destruirle. Yo creo que el esfuerzo para que vuelvan a resurgir no va a ser tan grande. Ya está. Muchísimas gracias.
Margarita, yo os admiro, Nada, muy breve. Deciros nada, 4 ideas: que no tengamos miedo, Dios ya está con nosotros, o sea, tenemos la razón. Solo nos pide decir sí a la vida, sí a la familia. Estoy con Ana Zaborska, que la admiro, de que el debate, no tenemos que tener miedo a debatir sobre el aborto y demás. Se han ganado debates en la televisión aquí en España. Y a mí me parece que debemos de tener, yo creo que 4 premisas, o sea, agarrarnos en varias cosas. La primera, hacer una evaluación de cuánto aporta a la maternidad al Producto Interior Bruto de cada país. Yo creo que es un tema importantísimo. ¿Cuánto aporta? Segundo, apoyarnos en el reto demográfico, que ahora está tan de moda. El reto demográfico es la salvación de la familia, de familias numerosas. Es decir, apoyarnos en eso para decir, oye, el mundo se salva gracias al reto demográfico, gracias a que las madres tienen niños y a que los niños existen y que las madres son auténticas cuidadoras y trabajadoras, ¿no? A mí me parece muy importante lo del latido del corazón, quiero decir que hay que trabajar este tema para cambiar la legislación absolutamente y luego ir más allá, como todo el tema de genético, de patrimonio genético, que ya os comentaré, pero a mí me parece que es muy importante. Como biólogo molecular que trabajaba en ingeniería genética, pues a mí me parece que hay una serie de leyes que nos permiten poder afirmar que el patrimonio genético que tiene ya una célula ya por sí es un hombre en potencia y por tanto con todas las garantías éticas, legales y demás. Y sobre todo también una precaución, el tema del acoso. Es decir, yo creo que ahora los antivida, ¿no? Digamos, los de la muerte, lo que quieren hacer es atacarnos por la vía del acoso, ¿no? Entonces, establecer protocolos de intervención me parece muy importante para evitar ese tipo de cruzar esa línea, ¿no? Ser en ese sentido absolutamente puritanos, ¿no? Y por último, una idea que siempre lancé cuando estaba en el Parlamento Europeo y demás, y a ver si lo lanzan, igual que lo han lanzado el tema de maternidad, patrimonio de la humanidad, es decir, necesito un equipo a ver si las universidades se juntan para este tema, todo el patrimonio que tienen de recursos humanos. Necesitamos abogados que trabajen en un tema. El aborto es una atrocidad, es una lacra, pero sobre todo también atenta contra los derechos fundamentales. El artículo 7 de los derechos civiles y políticos de Ginebra, yo creo que es una de las cosas que hay que trabajar. Este tema nos dicen que si realmente prescribes una solución sanitaria y no tienes alternativas, no tienes información consentida, desde luego estás cometiendo crímenes de lesa humanidad como cometieron los nazis. A mí me parece que acusar con argumentos a los políticos, que lo primero que hacen nada más llegar al poder es meter las leyes, obviamente las leyes contra el aborto y demás, se les puede acusar de crímenes de lesa humanidad. Yo creo que por ahí es una de las vías legales que podíamos indagar, que podíamos trabajar, porque efectivamente no se les da alternativas, se generan absolutamente secuelas tremendas en las mujeres y sobre todo que se está atentando con la vida de los niños. Entonces, bueno, con eso, y deciros lo que dije, ¿no? Que cada niño que nace lleva un mensaje, y es que Dios todavía no ha perdido la esperanza en el hombre. Recordar, trabajamos para que estos niños, que es la piedra que desechan los arquitectos modernos, sean la piedra angular del nuevo mundo que está por decir. Pues nada, Que Dios os bendiga y muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti, Conrado, por tu entusiasmo. Nos has dado tantas buenas ideas que ahora, bueno, pues ahí queda para ponerlas en práctica. Y yo animaría a los legisladores presentes a que inviten a Conrado a hablar en sus parlamentos, ya que se ofreció, que no dejen de hacerlo. Y nada más, seguimos en contacto. Muchas gracias a todos por seguir uniéndose. Seguiremos convocando estos webinars y esperamos vernos cara a cara pronto en Budapest.
Muchas gracias.
Salud.